We've just received an official update from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, and this one is creating major waves across the country. According to their latest findings, look at this. Trump administration plans deep cuts to Social Security disability insurance, particularly for older workers. This new report is sparking deep concern among millions of retirees and disability recipients who rely heavily on these benefits each month. But that's not all. Alongside this, we're also looking at another pressing development involving benefit distributions across states. Look at this. These states get the most Social Security benefits, and the differences might surprise you. We're going to break down the full list in just a moment. Before that, there's another crucial update that affects every Social Security recipient. A warning from senior advocacy groups that cannot be ignored. And the most important one is, look at this. Social Security warning issued over COLA, only going to get worse. This statement comes just days before the official cost of living adjustment, COLA announcement. Experts say the upcoming increase could go one of two ways, either a modest bump averaging between $54 and $58 per month, or, depending on policy adjustments, a larger one ranging from $300 to $500 for select groups of retirees. While that may sound positive, there's an important catch, and it's one that many seniors are already familiar with. Historically, when COLA increases take effect, the rise in Medicare Part B premiums often offsets much of the gain, leaving recipients with little to no net increase. This concern is what prompted one of the most influential senior organizations in the United States to issue a public alert. Look at this. The Senior Citizens League, TSCL, has issued a warning over the upcoming cost of living adjustment, also known as COLA, alleging that the benefit increase for seniors is only going to get worse. The warning emphasizes that inflation-based adjustments are not keeping up with the real-world costs that seniors face. According to their internal review, the method used to calculate COLA simply doesn't reflect the spending habits or needs of retired Americans. Look at this. The organization's analysis revealed that the average senior who retired in 1999 has lost nearly $5,000 in Social Security payments due to the government using the CPIW, a price index that tracks inflation for people who work and live in cities. This metric, the Consumer Price Index for Urban Wage Earners and Clerical Workers, CPIW, was originally intended to measure inflation for active workers, not retirees. As a result, it underestimates the actual living costs faced by older Americans, particularly expenses related to healthcare, housing, and utilities. In response, TSCL has proposed a different approach. Look at this. Instead, TSCL is calling for the government to calculate payment increases based on the CPIE, which is designed to reflect seniors' inflation specifically and tends to come in slightly higher than the CPIW. On average, the CPIE is 0.1 percentage points higher than the CPIW. The CPIE, or Consumer Price Index for the elderly, better captures the economic realities of aging populations. Advocates argue that shifting to this formula would mean fairer, more accurate benefit increases that actually reflect seniors' true cost of living. Look at this. If adopted, this change could raise benefits significantly by several $100s annually for millions of Social Security recipients. Analysts suggest that with the CPIE adjustment, retirees could see increases in the range of $300 to $500 per year, compared to the much smaller adjustments currently projected under the existing model. At the center of all this debate are roughly 70 million Americans who rely on Social Security each month, whether through retirement, disability, or survivor benefits. Look at this. Traditionally, the annual COLA announcement takes place in mid-October, often around the 15th, but this year's government delays have pushed the timeline back slightly. The new announcement is now expected closer to October 24th, according to reports. This delay, however, is not necessarily bad news. Experts say it offers lawmakers additional time to reconsider the formula used to determine these adjustments. Several members of Congress and advocacy groups are already pressing for reforms that could make the 2026 COLA fairer and more reflective of seniors' real inflation rates. Many retirees see this as a crucial opportunity, a rare moment when policy might finally align with the needs of older Americans. Look at this. Meanwhile, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, CBPP, report is generating widespread reaction in Washington and across the nation. According to the CBPP, proposed policy changes could lead to reduced funding for the Social Security Disability Insurance (SSDI) program, directly affecting millions of older workers and individuals living with disabilities. Once again, look at this. Trump administration plans deep cuts to Social Security disability insurance, particularly for older workers. The CBPP notes that SSDI is one of the most vital safety nets for Americans who are unable to continue working due to severe medical conditions or disabilities. If the proposed cuts were to move forward, the consequences could be profound, particularly for those nearing retirement age who depend on these benefits for daily survival. Look at this. Public reaction remains divided. Some supporters of the cuts argue they are necessary to address long-term budget imbalances, while critics warn that such actions would disproportionately harm the nation's most vulnerable citizens. As the debate intensifies, one thing is clear. The future of Social Security and disability programs is once again at the center of national attention. Now, shifting focus to another major update that affects beneficiaries on a state-by-state level, look at this. These states get the most Social Security benefits. According to new data compiled from the Social Security Administration, benefit distributions vary widely across the country. States with larger senior populations and higher living costs tend to receive the most substantial total payments each month. Look at this. These states get the most Social Security benefits. The top 3 states that received the most benefits were California, Florida, and Texas. California leads the nation, not only due to its population size, but also because of its high concentration of retirees. Florida follows closely behind, known as one of the country's top retirement destinations, while Texas ranks third thanks to its growing population of senior and disability benefit recipients. Look at this. Together, these 3 states account for a significant share of all Social Security payments distributed nationwide. Analysts note that understanding these state-by-state differences can be essential for evaluating how future policy changes, like potential budget cuts or formula shifts, could affect residents differently depending on where they live. For example, states like California and Florida, which have larger numbers of retirees relying solely on Social Security, could feel sharper impacts from benefit reductions or smaller COLA increases. In contrast, states with fewer retirees or lower living costs might see less dramatic effects. What remains consistent, however, is the growing financial strain on millions of older Americans. Many are finding that even with annual COLA increases, their checks don't go as far as they used to. Rising costs for essentials like food, healthcare, and housing continue to outpace benefit growth year after year. The Senior Citizens League has stated that unless significant reforms are made, including a shift to the CPIE model, future generations of retirees may face even greater financial insecurity. Economists agree that the issue isn't just about numbers, it's about fairness. Retirees who spent decades contributing to the system are now finding themselves left behind by outdated formulas and insufficient adjustments. As discussions continue, lawmakers face increasing pressure from advocacy groups and constituents to prioritize seniors' needs in the next legislative session. With the COLA announcement just days away, the stakes couldn't be higher. Millions of Americans are waiting anxiously to find out how much their monthly payments will increase, and whether the new figures will finally match the rising costs of living. This ongoing debate over fairness, accuracy, and sustainability in the Social Security system is likely to remain one of the most important political and economic issues heading into 2026.